What's up guys and welcome back to the channel. I'm Andy the Middle-Aged Gamer and this is a really special video for you guys. So let's stick the usual disclosures on screen. You guys grab a drink, get yourselves comfy because you're not going to want to miss this. It's going to blow you away. Okay guys, so full disclosure, GHK sent this to me. A while back, they got in contact with me and said, hey, we really love what your channel is doing. We love you. We would like to actually send you a pre-production model of the HK416A5. I said, okay, but what's the catch? They said, well, you just can't release the video before what you're seeing today, but you can actually say, do whatever you want. And I know that's kind of cringy when people say that because they don't believe it, but believe me, that's what they told me. They said, we love what you do. You can say, do whatever you want, just make a video, but don't release it before said date. And I said, okay. So now that we've got that out of the way, every BB, every gas bottle, my time at Halo Mill, on my range, the working, editing, all that time, that's on me. So I do have some sort of skin in the game. As we all know, it's not bloody cheap these days to shoot airsoft. It's getting more expensive by the day. So let's start cutting this box open and let's see what we got, shall we? Okay guys, so no knife needed, it's already kind of half opened here. I didn't like the rattle that's going on in there. I'm a bit worried, but it has come all the way from Taiwan, the home of GHK, so hopefully it's had a safe journey. I'll say I didn't need the knife, but sadly we do when you've got very thick tape. Good on you, GHK. Now, let's get this out of the way. Ooh, we can already see the stripe from the Umarex line. Obviously, as I say, this is a pre-production model. So there will be some imperfections, some issues probably maybe there. We'll find out together. Ooh. Oh my God. Someone's already shot the box or banged it. Let's yeet that out the way. Okay, so we are going to take this little tab off because it does have my address on there. Sorry. Okay, so minor damage there. I don't know what's missing there. Let's hope nothing, but let's have a look. Like I say, this is a pre-production model, so it is probably going to have some inconsistencies that the final model won't have. So when you buy yours, it's going to be sound. Ooh, like I can already see some scratches. But let's... Wow. Now, we've already got the heavy recoil kit. We do have a loose speed loader. How about this? We do have the new H&K magazine. I mean, come on, guys. That's lightweight and feels absolutely nice. I like that. It feels like an AEG mag. Okay. And we do have another magazine here. Where's my little knife? So, we get that out of the way. Is this another HK one? It is. Ooh, so now we have two HK mags. Ooh, although this might be CO2. It looks like it. Yeah, that's not bad. There's nothing on the box to tell you what it is, but there's one mag. That's CO2. This one is going to be green gas, so we need to test it. That's the more important one because that's what most people use today. Now, let's lift this up. Oh, got a lovely weight. Very slight play with the stock. That's nice. I like that. Now, ooh. So that's nice. Very lightweight trigger. That's nice. You do see some slight imperfections on there, which basically comes with a pre-production model as they test it and that. Okay, so I need to get my magnet. Okay, so with my magnet, I can already tell you which version this is. This is the DX version or representation of the DX. And that's because it has a steel bolt carrier in there and not zinc. Your dust cover locks in place. You do have a full ambi controls. That handguard just looks mean. I love that. And of course, details wise, we do have a proof mark. We do have all the correct markings on there, which is nice. But yeah. nice and positive. Very stiff, which is nice. That's going to wear in as time goes through. Ooh. Okay, before we get too excited with this, what we need to do is make it with BBs and gas in the magazine and take it outside and do a proof of function test. Holy cow, does that absolutely kick. And that's not even with the heavy recoil in there, which you can put in if you want to use the CO2 mag, but wow. So yeah, it does work. Now, what we're going to do next is we're going to basically do this video exactly like I did the Tokyo Marui AKX revisit video, where we do everything in one go. So definitely don't tune out. But this video wouldn't have been made possible if it wasn't for you guys as well. If it wasn't for you hitting the subscribe button, hitting the like button, notification bell, engaging in the comments, doing all the YouTube stuff, then GHK wouldn't feel the need to send it to a channel like mine. I am so grateful to you guys for everything that you have done for this channel. I'm here for you guys, and you guys have delivered on a massive scale. So huge thank you. Let's keep going and let's hit that 10,000 subs before the end of the year, shall we? That's my goal anyway. Now, like I say, let's do what we normally do. Let's take this off now. Let's clear the table, get it on its stand, as you would say, and go over it from the back to front and show you what you get out the box and so on. We're also going to do an accuracy test, FPS test, and so on. As is, I'm not going to touch the hop unit. I'm not going to open the hop adjustment thing or anything like that. We're just going to run it as is to see what the out-of-the-box performance is. And if this being a pre-production model is what we're judging by, already just on recoil alone and the way it shoots, every other HK416 has a massive hill to climb. Like I say, I'm just going to say a huge thanks to GHK for this. This is an absolute brilliant and fantastic and amazing opportunity. So let's do it. Let's clear the table. Let's get into it. Okay, so now that we've done a proof of function test and we've cleared the table, it's time to take a deep dive into how GHK did on this awesome HK HK416A5 GBBR. Now, as always, let's zoom straight into the rear and work our way forward. Okay, starting at the rear, we do have GHK's awesome representation of the H&K slimline stock. You can tell by the markings here, they've really kept everything as official as they can. At the rear, we do have the awesome unique serrations for the butt pad right here, which is actually movable. So yes, you can remove the butt pad and replace it if that ever gets damaged or what have you, or you could just use the compartment in there for your tactical snacks, should you wish. Okay, if you don't want it to come off, you can always put a single little roll pin through here and that will lock it on there permanently. Now, of course, you do get all the nice reinforcements for this slimline stock. It is very narrow, so that's quite nice. You do have a single traditional sling loop right here, or as I've seen on hk.net, you can actually buy a QD socket that pops onto here and is mounted and bolted from the other side, or you can flip it to the other side and use that depending on what hand you shoot with. And that is really, really good. I believe third-party manufacturers are already making them for this, so have a good look out there if you're after keeping this stock on the rifle. It is just absolutely awesome. And when it comes down to play, there is very little play side to side, front to back, just enough to allow a smooth, nice positioning of the stock itself, which is really, really nice. Now, the stock is mounted to a GHK V3 AR buffer tube, just to put that clarity out there, and that means it's got the correct threads at the back, which is really good. Now, as you can see here, we have a awesome replica of the H&K enhanced castle nut. Now, fun fact, if you look at the HK416 Delta, the original one, during the 10 years of its run before being updated, they basically did enough studies to find that when soldiers would drop the rifle on its buttstock with the original AR-15 castle nut that you would see on a URGI, Mark 18, M4A1, you get the picture, it would allow enough bend and flex on the buffer tube to cause micro stress fractures. Now, what that would lead to, depending on, again, the batch, the tolerances and so on of the materials, would a Kentucky ballistics detonation sort of thing going off, where basically your bolt carrier can end in your shoulder as that detonates out and you get shrapnel damage. So, to mitigate it, if you ever do drop it, they decided to enlarge the castle nut, which gives it more support, minimizes the bend and flex, and stops the micro stress fractures and other cracks and so on to appear. Brilliant job. Now, that is also holding on your sling plate here, which is fully ambidextrous. You've got your left side and your right side right there. Perfectly right for the 416A5. Moving on up, we do get to our charging handle. Our charging handle here is the HK enhanced charging handle, and yes, it means that this left activation lever has been enlarged significantly, meaning that whether you're lefty or righty, you can easily reach over and charge the gun without having to flip everything around, okay, which is really good. As you can see, this one is caked in grease as I've not cleaned it yet, and that's awesome. Now, if we move on down, we do get to the HK416 grip. Now, this is basically a step up on the original 416 Delta. That used to have a little, how would I say, spacer here for your finger, as well as a straight trigger guard, and it was annoying. It would cut people's fingers and so on. It would just dig into you. So HK for the 416 got rid of that. They made it more ergonomic. Just an absolute awesome grip. You can see here with a nice grip patterning in there, it is just a beautiful representation. It feels comfortable, and to be honest with you, this grip's good enough that you're not going to want to change it for a mag pull or anything like that. But if you did, you could. It's just a standard AR-15 grip. At the bottom, we still have our compartment here, which is nice. Okay, you can put your batteries or whatever little extras in there, whatever you want to store, which is kind of good. And if we move up, GHK have done an awesome job at replicating the enlarged trigger guard for your, how to say, airsoft gloved hands and for winter trigger for normal soldiers. Now, the trigger, well, let's get into it. The trigger on this is absolutely amazing. This is their GHK V3 fire control group. So what that basically means is if I do this and we take this magazine out. So what that means is you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're already at the wall. With your reset, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, reset there, and 5 to extend. Basically, you've got a single stage mil spec trigger in there, which is perfectly fine. Now, the pull weight, you're talking around the 3.5 pounds, anywhere from 3 in the minimum to 3.5 as humans can gauge with their own finger pressure, as you would say. So that's really, really good. If you are looking for a good trigger, this is decent straight out the box because it's a nice blend between a true mil spec, which is about 5.5 to 6 pounds a pull, and a civilian single stage, which is around about the 2.5 to 3.5 pounds a pull, depending on the manufacturer of choice. That's really good. And yeah, that's awesome. Now, moving on up to the fire selector. You've got your safe, your semi, and your fun. Now, this being the latest iteration of the 416, some people have already sort of like started pointing out in comments and other videos that basically the MR556A4 from the US is better because it has a 45-degree throw. Here's the thing. When you look at this, this does look like the MR556, you know, which is brilliantly done for the civilian market. And for civilian markets, as it is a MR, which stands for marksman rifle, or match rifle, depending on who you talk to, that circumstance where you have a 45-degree throw between safe and semi is perfectly fine. The problem is, as military doctrine has found out, sometimes you don't want that very fast switch to semi, and then another 45 to fun mode. You don't want that. Because as a select fire rifle, you want to be able to move deliberately and have the soldier actually think about his actions rather than just go out there and switch it and go bang, bang, and then go, oh shit, afterwards. So they don't want that. That's why HK for the military rifles left it at a 90-degree throw. Just one of those. Also, with the grip, they left it as this because one thing to just state, both the selector, the grip, etc., these are what we call optional parts. And if you've ever bought a car before or looked at other people that bought cars, you generally pick the car, it's a shell, and you kit it out how you want it. And that's the way that militaries do it. This is their standard HK grip for the 416, and it's more than good enough, and most militaries leave it that way. Civilians, on the other hand, may be a little bit more picky, and therefore for the civilian market, they did make it look like the VP9/HK45 in the texturing, but the actual shape of it is identical. So there you go. But like I say, the 90-degree is fine, and as you can hear here, this is extremely positive, clicky. It doesn't feel loose or soft or mushy in between the selections. It just locks in. So you're not going to accidentally bump it out of the mode you've chosen. So that's really good. Now moving on, we do have our enlarged bolt release / hold open. It is ambidextrous. There is one on the other side. If I kind of move it here, you can just see it start to move. I'll show you obviously when we flip it around. We do have the enlarged wing here covering it, so you don't accidentally bump it when you put the rifle down and chamber around if you didn't intend it to do so. Moving down, we do have our nice ambi mag release. That works perfectly fine and does as it's intended to do. Now, that kind of also has this nice big long wing here to protect it. Now, if we move down, we do see the magwell. It is the angled one for the 416, and of course it is flared on the inside for better fit and feed and adoption of the P-mags. Again, there are so many companies out there. Having this angle cut allows for a better fit for other magazines to feed better. It's just awesome. So that's really awesome there. Now, let's actually talk about the magazine, shall we? Okay, so this is the GHK HK magazine that came with it. This is awesome. Just to show you the actual markings on here, the level of attention to detail, because this is the Gen 3 P mag from H&K. It's got all the correct markings, again being officially licensed. Now, this holds 30 rounds. It's quite simple to load with the speed loaders provided. Your fill valve is right here at the back. Now, when it comes to weight, let's get that out of the way. So if we turn on the scales here, we will make sure it's zeroed. Your total weight with a full tank of gas is 384 grams. Really, really lightweight. When you're talking about gas magazines, GHK have got the lightest out there. It's really nice. Now, let's get that out the way. Okay, and how did they achieve that? Well, to be honest with you, GHK makes some of the best magazines for GBBRs, or their GBBRs to be precise, on the market. They are some of the most efficient, and this is no different. What they've done is basically taken their V3 magazine system, so you're talking feed lips, gas seal, follower, and the tanks inside has a new little divider part here. What that does is stop the overspray. Now that's, like I say, let's talk about how they do it. So if I flick that there, which is captive by the way, we can show you in here, there is the bottom of your two tanks. Now the tank here on the right side, if you hold it like this, where the fill valve is, this is your liquid tank. When you fill it up with gas, it is basically liquid compressed gas. As it uncompresses, it expands into the second tank, which is what feeds the rifle. Now, that basically means normally it's very efficient. You only need 4 to 4.5 seconds of gas to fill this up and get enough to get around about 3 full mags of BBs out of there with a hard lockback. You'll get a few extra shots out of it, but they'll be just weak. That's really good efficiently wise for just 4.5 seconds of gas. But what it also means is you can do that whether you do it on semi or on fun mode. You can just magnum the hell out of this, and the reason being is because this tank has that little divider bit up here and they have the little piece inside, that basically stops it from getting sucked, overspray from getting sucked up into the system. Overspray is basically very, very cold liquid gas that freezes the entire workings of the GBBR, which if you've ever owned a GBBR and you've gone fun mode or fast all the time, you'll find that the mags cool down, the rifle gets chuggy. this mitigates it. It really does. And of course, in cold weather, yes, you may lose a magazine's worth of BBs overall, but you can mag dump in the cold, which is really, really good. So this is a really good system, what they've done. I'm really happy with that. It's just absolutely fantastic. And of course, I've actually gone ahead and ordered a couple of magazines for this for when it's released. So that's awesome. Okay, let's get back to the rifle itself. So the upper and lower receiver are awesome. There's zero wobble, flex. The lineup, the matchup is GHK's best work to date. They've done a really amazing job. Now, when the magazine is inserted, for instance, with the receiver, you can see very little wobble and so on, which is really good for gameplay. You're not getting a tactical maraca, as they say, with it rattling around within the magwell. I don't know about you, but I kind of hate that. The coating on this is Cerakote. Now, while that's not official to the real steel, it is an option that HK do provide, should you wish. Again, it's one of the options on the actual options list when you purchase the gun from a military standpoint or even a civilian now. So this being Cerakote is not really out of the realm of reality, but this being Cerakote means that you get a very durable and very good coating. Even though this is a pre-production sample and I don't know how many hands this has been in, you can see already this is just beautiful. It's absolutely amazing. Now, looking at the markings, you do have the real steel caliber, the HK416 HK. We do have the HK brand up there, a proof mark right here, which is awesome. We do get the proper German registration here, which is awesome, and it matches, which is beautiful. Just looking at how crisp and clean these markings pop, it's just stunning. Now, one thing you'll notice with this replica of the 416, there is no enhanced QD battle sight at the rear and a flip up front sight. The reason being, well, quite simply, all rifles these days are getting rid of iron sights, most especially in the military side of things and civilian, because most people either have a set of irons that they really love, better than HK can probably do. They know that. There are other brands out there that people love for sights and different purposes. So rather than add that to the cost of the rifle, they get rid of it. You don't need it. So in the newer iterations, it is an optional part. And of course, it wasn't included on this because this is a truly modern release or interpretation of the 416. I like it like this because it gives me a very nice, clean rail across. I really like it because, as you can see, you've got all your numbers there. And the interruption piece that's normally there with your handguard is not. It's a full uninterrupted Picatinny rail right across the top now, which is nice and clean. Again, most optics are more reliable now, so you'll be able to use those. Now let's move on to the handguard. As you can see here, we do have the Magpul patent markings right there. We do have the close there on this latch. This is your QD latch, so to undo this, you would just pull this lever down, lift this up like that. That will all drop down and you can slide the entire handguard off very quickly. It's really cool. So that's cool. You do have your QD socket here. It is mirrored on both sides. You do have M-lock on the 3, 6, and 9, and we do have all these nice lightweight cutouts and what I would call cooling of this rail. It's really nice, so it allows the piston area and the barrel to cool down a lot better. And of course M-lock, because that's more what people use today, to be honest with you. So that's a beautiful handguard. Now, you can actually see the gas piston in there, but we'll show you more of that as we go through this video. Now, at the front it says N and S, which stands for normal and suppressed. I've got it set to S because I will be using a different muzzle device, but S is for suppressed, and then you've got N for normal. And if you can just hear, there's a nice little positive detent in the gas block. It's nice just to have that. It does nothing for this. It's not like the other manufacturer out there that uses it as a hop adjustment. It's basically just for show, but it's nice to have it match up and just, you know, play with. At the front, we do have our HK birdcage here, which is awesome. And of course, that is a 14mm CCW threads for airsoft, so you can put whatever muzzle device you wish on there. Now, let's flip this around. As you can see, everything is nice and mirrored. You have a lovely big HK, as if you didn't know who made it. Look at that, it's just beautiful. Now, I've noticed on some of the pre-order pictures. They have the warning manual, read owner's manual markings here. Mine does not. I'm not sure if that's going to be on your release or not, because there are so many different photos out there with different little iterations, small little changes. Again, this is pre-production, but it is basically material-wise, build-wise, what you're going to get. Just some markings may change depending on your region. Mine says Heckler & Koch, GmbH, made in Germany, which is nice. Usually that will just say a license by GmbH, blah, blah, blah. But I do like that mine's got it more realistic in that respect. It's beautiful. We do have HK on the bolt, and we do have a nice polymer dust cover. But yes, here is our ambidextrous bolt release. And correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but as an out-the-box experience, and yes, there's a lot of construction going on nearby, but out-the-box experience, this is GHK's first full ambi AR-15 that they've done. I mean, I know there's kits that make you convert them and there are other stuff, but from GHK themselves, this is their first, and to be honest with you, they're doing a cracking job. There's your standard mag release and your selector, which is easily done. Right, so now that we've done this, let's leave it as is. Let's go and fill that magazine up with some gas and some BBs, and let's go and see what she's like for grouping without adjusting the hop at all. And let's go and see if she can clear the Texas Star. Okay, this is the GHK HK416 with green gas and 0.25 gram BBs. Ooh. So that's 354.6 average with a high of 360.4, low of 350.1. That is brilliant. Okay, let's take it back to 15 meters and let's see what she's like with no iron sights. This is going to be fun. Let's get a grouping test. Yeah, that's unbelievable. Okay, so now that we know where we're aiming, let's test the Texas Star. Let's see how she does point shooting with no irons straight out of the box. Bloody amazing. Okay guys, wow, straight out the box this thing shoots a awesome grouping. Look at that, sub 2 inches at its widest point. My gosh, this thing is just absolutely unbelievable. For accuracy with the stock barrel and booking, you don't need to touch it. You will never need to upgrade this out the box right now unless you're using it as a sniper, which this is not. For what this is intended for, this is just brilliant. That is phenomenal. And with a 350 mid, as we say, 350s FPS, it is really good, especially if you're going to be using it outdoors with 0.25 gram BBs. Sadly, on my side, though, I can't use this in CQB, so we are going to be using a one dual nozzle inside the bolt carrier. I'm going to switch that one out. We'll do that in this video. So let's get into how they did it. Let's see what they did. I've got my little magnet here, so let's start. This is your low receiver. You have steel takedown pins, steel retainer there for your buffer, steel sling loop, steel castle nut, aluminium buffer. No, this is not the over the beach end plate. Sadly, it would be nice if they did have the holes for it, but what it is decent anyway. You do have a steel core for your selector lever, steel sear, steel hammer. If I pull that out, yes, it is a steel firing pin. And of course, your bolt stop is all steel. Your mag release is steel. your trigger is steel, your pins are steel. You get the gist. Everything inside this for the fire control group is steel and well done. This is their V3 system after all, with the only difference being the full ambi bolt release / hold open. I love it. I really do love how they've done it. I like the angled tape to this actual bolt catch pipe where it lifts up, because that basically helps bite into where the bolt hooks onto it and hook it on there and retain it back. That's really good. Some people just put a straight 90-degree surface, but having that little bit there just really is good. As you can see, this thing is caked in shipping grease still. We will be cleaning that up a little bit. So that's kind of cool, or I will do off camera. We'll get that done, but that is nice. It's a beautiful lower. Now, I am going to move that out of the way because we need the space. Let's talk about the buffer. So this is your standard spring. This is your normal spring, and if you buy the standard edition of it, there is two major differences. On the standard edition, you get the same buffer and this spring as normal, but you don't get any extra. If you purchase the DX version, you will get the heavy spring and weight. And of course, when it comes to the bolt carrier, well, that one comes with a steel bolt carrier with the DX and a zinc bolt carrier if you purchase the standard. But if you do use the standard, you can't really put the weight in there or anything like that. It's not set up for it. So again, it's up to you depending on where you live. If you live in a cold country, the standard edition is more than enough. You do get a good hard kick. If you live in a more medium, more mild to warm climate, then the steel one would work perfectly for you. Again, it's up to you, but one thing I will state is without having that heavy spring, you can't use the CO2 mags, which we'll get into. Now, if I wipe that off, we do actually have our lovely buffer here, which is amazing. It's a nice replica of the H&K one with the right markings on there. That is beautiful. And as you can see here, we do have our bolt carrier. This is the new V3 bolt carrier system, so you see a perfectly flat end. The V2s and so on would all have a slight taper to them, which was great but not very realistic, and that would cause to uneven wear on the actual buffer itself. Now, as you can see, this has been chamfered inside to fit that weight. You put the weight in here and that will increase the mass. I don't know why you want to. Let's basically get the mass of the bolt carrier. So we'll zero that. So this bolt carrier, here we go, we'll stand it on its end, is 235. And if we put the anti-bounce awesome buffer here, because this is part of the reciprocating mass, that brings a total reciprocate mass of 316.84. Holy crap. So that is absolutely a lot of weight hitting you. Add the extra mass of the weight, which will add another 100 grams to it. You can see your shoulder is going to be really getting smacked if you use the heavy spring and weight on there. But yeah, it's still fun. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about the upper. As you can see, they've recreated everything. Now, straight away, this is a single piece steel outer barrel with a nice gas block representative, or piston gas block if you want to call it that way. The adjuster is aluminium. The piston cup itself is steel. The rod is steel. Spring is steel. Little spacer there, all steel. The barrel nut is steel. So that is awesome. Now, for those of you who know how the V3 works, you will know that the hop chamber in this is identical to the V3. So what that means is if you don't want to use the standard GHK hop in there, you can actually use the Magnus Pro from Quantum Industries. That will fit just like on any URGI, which I've done a video on, or if you own an M4A1, Mark 18, etc., because it's all the same hop chamber, which is a big change compared to the competition. The competition changed the hop chamber of the 416 completely to all the other AR-15s. So what would work with the URGI, for instance, wouldn't work on this. But in this case, GHK did the awesome job of doing that, which means brilliantly. Now, what that means is to adjust that hop, you need the tool. This tool, to be precise. As you can see, I've not opened it yet, but all that does is you insert this through the ejection port, you lock your bolt to the rear so I can put that through, and it inserts into a small little hole right here at the bottom. And once you've got that in and found the little grub screw inside and you've locked in, you drop the bolt very gently onto the back of this and then just adjust it. There is a nice little guide there that tells you when to add or when not to add and which way to turn. So you just turn it and you can add or remove hot should you wish to adjust it, depending on the BB weight. I'm using 2.5s and this thing shoots straight as an arrow out of the box. You're not going to need it. It's going to hold. All I will say is don't over adjust it because that may lead to you wearing out the threads inside because it is a polymer hop chamber. But to be honest, GHK have done a cracking job on the way that it's designed. So just bear that one in mind. As you can see, that is your HK stock still there. And yeah, that leaves us to our charging handle. You can see here, this is a lovely charging handle. And we have our handguard. Now, our handguard, steel QD, steel bar, actual latch system, all of that is steel. Just an absolutely lightweight but beautiful handguard. Okay, so now we've done that, it's time to move on and stick a one dual nozzle in there. All right, guys, so this is a GHK version 3 or V3 nozzle, and this is their one dual nozzle. Okay, so we're going to install this in this bolt carrier so that we can get the FPS down correctly. Now to do that, well, we're going to need to remove this one. Now as you can see in here, it's held in, if we can get that right, with a E-clip. We just need to get that off. Now this is the usual hard bit. This usually is the part where you start swearing and so on. So rather than me do that on camera, we're just going to pop that E-clip off. Once that's off, we can then move on to getting the nozzle out and putting the new one in. Okay, so as you can see, I've taken the E-clip off. I'm going to put that dirty E-clip there. And all we need to do now is pull this little side panel up and then it comes out. And that now lets us remove this nozzle. So the way that this is, it's identical. The only difference being, as you can see here, they've put a small restrictor in the front, but that means I can run this at Halo Mill CQB and have a good time. Putting it back in is quite simple. Everything just goes in the same way it came out. It's not really difficult. You can easily put things in there. Then you just use this to lift this piece up, pull that through, and that will allow you to reinsert the E-clip. Okay, so with the E-clip now pushed back into place, it's pretty easy. Just prise it up enough, then push it in, and the E-clip will lock on. Okay, once that's on, you have your nozzle there. Now, obviously, I've not siliconed this or anything like that yet. That's going to be done in a moment. So let's reassemble the GBBR and test it out. Okay, so now that we've fitted a one dual nozzle in there, it is perfectly legal now for Halo Mill CQB. It's time to get this thing kitted out and ready. So, what are we going to be using today? Well, I've got my T1, lightweight. Again, for a more modern build, it's better to go lightweight. We'll need some cable managers. And I'm going to put a hand stop on there, which is quite nice. But for the light and laser, well, I got something special. I have an OGL, which, to be honest with you, looks absolutely sweet. So let's get these fitted and let's see what she looks like. Okay, so now that we've got the T1 on there, she's looking good. Now we need to put the OGL on there. Oh, actually, no, we'll go to the hand stop first. That spacing is the most important. So, around about the midway point there. So if we put that there, we'll get the Allen key for it. We can insert you in. And we can tidy it down. Now we only want to put it so it's tight enough, and then we can add the final amount. That's in there, it's not going anywhere now. Next, time to put the OGL on. Okay, so she's beautiful. Now we need a flat head. So do I have one that will fit? Ugh, not that one. How about you? Should be able to get away with it. Okay, so I'll put you there. There we go. Slide that out of the way. All right. So you want to put your OGL as far forward as possible to minimize the amount of shadow on your light. We don't want that sort of light pollution in there, so that's good. So right to the front, and then we'll clamp that down. Now that that's on the front here. Okay, so there we are, we've fully kitted her out. So, we're at that time now where we take it out to Halo Mill, and let's see what she can do.
Almost, it's just a tiny bit to the right of the red dot, but it's not that much, you can't adjust it immediately. And when you're shooting centre mass, it's not making much of a difference.
Yeah. You're enjoying it though?
It's really nice feel to it. Really, really nice feel. Hit! Good call. Will's in the middle with a shotgun. Yeah. William! Where you hiding, boy?
Watch temple way.
Oh, shot! Dead man! That bastard. Nice shotgun. Cheers. Okay guys, are you going back to spawn?
Oh, we're going back there.
That way. Boys.
Try the laser out, see if it's on there.
10 minutes remaining.
Will might still be made.
10 minutes.
It's 2 by barrels.
Copy. I've got an angle barrel. Yeah, stay low, stay low. Good man. Good man. Good. Going with that stone, kids, look right ahead.
There's another one there. He's gone back into the right now. There he is.
Ready? John, are we clear? Go. Stop it. Here comes, boys. Push your snipe. Push, push. Push, push, push. Clear?
He's dead. I was dead.
You said you'd get his hat, didn't you?
I won't get it out. I won't try to shoot it off. Chris, where are you at? Oh, you're covering back. Keep sniping to it.
Sniper.
Yeah, keep it. Ooh, ooh, second. That was Will. Watch your 6.
They take it, you got the hat.
Halo Mill, unique experience for all. Fuck you, Will!
I wouldn't keep going if I didn't like it.
Ooh, I like that one. Lovely. Did you hit? Yeah. Oh, I'm guessing it hit Rick, so I didn't feel finger. Oh, fair. Trade? I thought so cool.
Don't.
I'm sorry.
Okay, if you've gotten this far in the video and you like what you see but you're not subscribed, hit that that subscribe button, hit that like button and notification bell so that way you stay notified whenever I upload a new video. And you really are helping this channel out. As you'll have seen with this today, if you needed proof, here you go. And to be honest with you, it helps keep the lights on and help me feed my family. Now, obviously, I've left out the CO2 mag. Okay, so this is your CO2 magazine. It is substantially more heavier than the normal magazine, coming in at a very heavy weight, around double the weight of a green gas magazine. But that is because of the actual size of tanks that it needs to have for the CO2. Remember, CO2 is a lot more powerful. So to fill it, you just slide that back. It is captured. Undo this cap here, drop one CO2 vial in, and away you go. On one CO2, I was able to get 3 full magazines, averaging an FPS of 375 with a high of 376 and a low of 370. Yes, it's a little bit more consistent on CO2, but the FPS is very high, and to tame that with CO2 is going to be a lot more difficult. So just something you want to think about. But when it comes to markings, these magazines are identical in every way, barring their internal build. So that is really, really cool. Now, I will also state that in order to use this, you are going to need the steel bolt carrier, and you're going to need to use the heavy spring and heavy weight. If you don't, then the power of this is going to be significant enough to put excessive wear and tear on your bolt carrier and your nozzle and everything else. So just pair them up correctly and use it. Obviously, you can probably change a few things depending on the temperature. Like if it's really cold, then maybe you might need a light spring or take the weight out to the bolt carrier. You've got so many things you can trial and error to suit it to you. But the point is, you are going to need those if you're going to run the CO2. If not, just stick to green gas. It's up to you. Okay, it's time to put everything together and come to a conclusion. As always, I like to use the 3 most important pillars of any honest and fair review. That's build quality, performance, and support. When it comes to build quality, this is up there with the best. There is no wobble between the upper and lower receiver. There's no wobble in the handguard, no nothing. Everything is just well built. That to me is phenomenal. Again, it's really good to see the high amount of steel parts. And with the only difference between this and the standard edition is the fact that with the DX you get a steel bolt, standard you get a zinc bolt. With the DX you do get the heavy weight and heavy spring, and so you can use the CO2 mags, whereas with the standard you don't. Again, these are just little things that you can always upgrade later because the receiver and everything else is the same. You have the full V3, full steel fire control group, steel parts, a full steel barrel. This is just unbelievable. I'm really impressed with what they've given as a build quality. Now, moving on to the second pillar, we talk about performance. Well, with a average of 354 FPS and no BBs going below 350 and none going higher than 360, well, to be honest with you, that is a really consistent shooting GBBR. When it comes to performance of the green gas mags, getting 3 full mags out of this with a hard lockback, brilliant. And then obviously going for around about 4 or 5 extra shots before you gas out on the 4th mag, that's not bad. And of course, in a world where we always top off our gas mags anyway, whenever we end a game, and most of us have multiple, you're never going to notice it. But I will say that these magazines, with performance-wise, are the only magazines I've been able to use in the winter with a full mag dump without actually sucking up too much of the liquid propane or liquid gas, whatever you use, and it getting into the system, freezing everything and chugging it all down. This just really runs amazing. And that's testament to GHK's and their new V3 system, which is just amazing. So kudos to them. Absolutely, yes, they are amazing. Now, let's talk about support. When it comes to support, the amount of support that this company has now has been growing year on year. Now, if it was the V2, well, you'll have had 15 years of it, and there's plenty of aftermarket in Asia for that. Now that the V3 has been 12 months on this market, and we've suddenly seen this amazing batch of just phenomenal GBBRs from GHK, companies like Ratek, Samoon, Lilacs, Garda, you name it, a lot of them are now starting to sort of like do small little bits and pieces and bring third-party aftermarket support to the market. Again, because GHK with the V3 have gone more of a mil-spec, full-on realism in dimensions, and also like changing the barrel nut. They've also changed the inner barrel to a standard GBBR, standard booking. Things like that go a long way for you to personalize it and build it to your own. And that just means the support is amazing. And GHK themselves have done a good job at making sure that there's plenty of V3 feed lips out there. There's plenty of V3 followers and sets and so on. That's just amazing. Now, that basically means that all three pillars have been checked, so I can recommend this GBBR. Okay, so what do I think overall? Phenomenal. This is one of the best representations, if not the best, of the 416 on the market right now. Now, if you guys want to see a comparison between VFC and this, both in their stock configurations, which means I've got to do a lot of work in putting my VFC back to standard, but I'll do that and post the video. If you do want that, let me know in the comments and I'll post it sooner than later. Now, I do want to take this moment to thank you guys again. This wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't for you guys doing all the usual YouTube stuff. And I do want to say a huge thank you to GHK. They sent this to me. I've been really happy shooting this for the last month by the time you see this. And to be honest with you, it has just been an absolute blast. This thing is just unbelievable. So a huge thank you to GHK for trusting in this channel and allowing me to do that. But that doesn't make me a shield to them, and I can't wait to see what else they do further on. And if you guys continue doing what you do, maybe that'll be sooner than later. Now, as always, at this point, I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments down below. I try to read everything and answer as many as I can. If I don't answer, it's not because I've ignored you or what have you. It's either I didn't see it or I haven't got an answer for you there and then, and I'm going looking for it. So just bear with me. And with that, I've been Andy the Middle-Aged Gamer. You guys have been absolutely amazing, and I'll see you in the next video.